Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1474B, and today's date is January 17th, 2018, and the title of the episode is QAnon, a false flag attempt is headed our way. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, what we're seeing is that the cabal, the deep state, they are in big trouble, and we've been talking about how they're trying whatever they possibly can to push their agenda. Now, we understand that the corporate media is still the mouthpiece of the cabal, the deep state, and they've been trying to push the idea that they can impeach Trump because of his mental problems. And, they were trying to use this. Maxine Waters was out there again trying to say, yes, he's mentally unstable. And Trump just went through a physical with a U.S. Navy doctor. And the president came out with high scores, saying that he's in perfect health, and they made it a point to say that his cognitive health is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with him whatsoever. And they're saying that he scored a 30 out of 30 on the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, which screens for illness such as Alzheimer's and dementia. Now, this was put out there on purpose because they wanted to shut down those individuals that are calling for impeachment on mental illness. Now, of course, the corporate media is still out there saying that he's in bad health, he's too fat for his height, look at him. But you have to remember, when Obama was president, he smoked. I mean, no one really brought that up. But again, the doctor said he's in good health. This was put out there to shut down the cabal, the deep state. And I know there's still doctors on the different corporate media stations saying that, we're looking at the numbers and he could have a heart attack any minute, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, Steve Bannon had a closed-door testimony before the House Intelligence Committee on Tuesday. A subpoena was sent to him, which was then delivered to his attorney, and he testified in front of this Intelligence Committee. Now, something very interesting happened in the closed-door meeting. They're saying that he admitted that he had conversations with Reince Priebus, Sean Spicer, and legal spokesman Mark Corallo about Don Jr.'s meeting with the Russians in Trump Tower in June of 2016. We know for a fact this was a setup. We know nothing was being said there. We know they didn't have any information on Clinton. And all of that was completely fake, phony, and false. That was to spy on Don Jr. and to trap him. Now, what we're seeing here is that this matters because the meeting and the subsequent drafting of an allegedly misleading statement on Air Force One has become one of the most important focal points of the Russian investigation. It doesn't mean there's Russian collusion. They might catch him for lying. And this is what they've done to others. Now, it doesn't mean there was Russian collusion. They're just using it to say they have something. And we can see that they might use this, and most likely we're going to see the corporate media play this up big time to try to push the idea that Russian collusion was still happening when it really wasn't. Now, we see out in Catalan, Roger Torrent, the president of the Catalan parliament, held its first session on Wednesday, and it considers it necessary for Madrid's direct rule in the autonomous region to be ceased, with regional institutions regaining full powers. He also urged the lawmakers to respect people's will and strengthen the ties of the Catalan society. Out in North Korea, we see that North Korea and South Korea, they will march together at the Olympic opening ceremony. This is huge, because this is something the cabal does not want. They do not want North Korea and South Korea working together. And this is the first sign that they're ready to have peace. Now, the cabal does not like this. We know they're sending over that plane that can scramble and basically hit communications of another country. We also know that the USS Wasp, an amphibious assault ship with stealth attack capabilities, is heading to the naval base of Japan, and this is going to replace the USS Bonhomme Richard, as the flagship of Task Force 76. Now, this doesn't mean that they're going to be using this ship in any type of operation, but the corporate media is making a very big deal that this ship is going over there just in case something happens in North Korea during the Olympics. Now, this is very interesting. Now, we know the cabal, they are pushing for another event. Remember, everything is closing in around them. All these investigations are going on. The uranium one, child trafficking, Clinton emails, the pedo ring, you name it. Everything is happening all at once, and these individuals are very worried. And we can see that they're going to be pushing whatever they possibly can to get out of this. They need a distraction. That's what they need. Now, we know out in Hawaii, there was this false message that was sent out to the people warning them that there was a nuclear missile headed their way. And they waited about 40 minutes or so to send the all-clear message that this wasn't really happening. Well, another false alert happened in Japan. Japan issued a North Korea ballistic missile warning. Millions of citizens in Japan were sent a ballistic missile warning on Tuesday, just 2 days after Hawaii sent their message, which is very interesting. See what's happening here? There's a pattern that is forming right now where the cabal is testing each one of these areas for a false flag type of an attack. And they want to see how everyone reacts. And when we look at this, we can see that this is exactly what they're doing, because this is all they have left. Now, what I want to discuss here is what could happen. And I'm going to be discussing QAnon. This is supposed to be an insider who sends out messages to let you know what's going on with the deep state and how the patriots within government are fighting against the cabal, the deep state, and how we are winning. And we can see right now that the cabal, they're looking for any reason to have an event to start a war. Now, the World Economic Forum, they say that cyber attacks are the third most likely global risk in 2018. That's behind weather conditions and natural disasters. Now, to take this a step further, the Pentagon is out there, and they're saying, and they made a draft of the Pentagon 2018 Nuclear Posture Review, saying that the U.S. would consider using nuclear weapons to respond to non-nuclear attacks. Now, the Pentagon is out there saying that a cyber attack, a large cyber attack, would be considered extreme circumstances, and they would use nuclear weapons. Now, when we look at the actual document, it says the following. The United States would only consider the use of nuclear weapons in extreme circumstances to defend the vital interests of the United States, its allies, and partners. Extreme circumstances could include significant non-nuclear strategic attacks. Significant non-nuclear strategic attacks include, but are not limited to, attacks on the U.S., allied or partner civilian population or infrastructure, and attacks on U.S. or allied nuclear forces, their command and control, or warning and attack assessment capabilities. Notice that cyber attack is not specifically mentioned in this, but they're going to file this under extreme circumstances, because we can see already this is exactly what they're pushing. Now, we've talked about cyber attacks before, where a huge cyber attack could hit the financial industry, could hit the power infrastructure. It could hit anywhere in the United States, in Europe, South Korea, it doesn't make a difference. And they would say, hey, wait a minute. This country, or Russia, or China, North Korea, most likely, they just used a cyber attack. They might even blame it on Iran. They're trying to force this next event. And this brings me to QAnon. This insider who releases this information on 8chan in the Great Awakening section gives different pieces of information, and a lot of people have to decipher what it really means. And when looking through this, you can see there's certain things about fake news, put up a fake news meme, hashtag fake news, that everything's going to be okay. We're winning against the deep state. The deep state is in panic. There's no deal with the deep state with all these investigations, things like that. But the one that stood out for me was beware of major false flag attempts this week. Know your surroundings. Change of news cycle will be needed. Ability to attack limited. ISIS on life support. Now, we can see right now that we've been talking about a false flag. And he did say, or she, or a group of people, we don't know who these individuals are, says there's going to be attempts, which might mean that they fail, they try to kick them off, but they don't work. And we can see that it might mean there's more than one attempt, and maybe one will work. But once again, coming from this individual or a group of individuals, they might have everything under control, because if they're saying beware of a major false flag, they already know there's one in the works. They already know something is planned. And it didn't say false flag. It said major false flag, which means it's not going to be a little shootout. It's not going to be a guy running in and trying to blow himself up. Major, and this is all caps, beware of a major false flag, which means it's going to be something big. Now, we need to go back and look at what has happened here. We have seen 2 fake messages that have gone out about missiles hitting, coming from North Korea. One in Hawaii and one in Japan. The corporate media has been putting out the idea that North Korea does have the ability to launch their missiles and it can fly 8,000 miles. It can hit Guam now, it can hit Japan, which we've seen, but it really does break up. But again, we need to take this and look at it and say, well, just a minute here. What are they going to try to do? Why do you need to know your surroundings? Will it be something that hits but doesn't go off the way they want it to? Just like the person in New York where he tried to blow himself up, but it was just a bunch of fireworks. It really didn't work. There was really no explosive there. It looks like someone traded it out. I think this was this Bangladeshi man. Now, I've said this before. They could fire a missile. The missile could explode in Japan, maybe outside on the shores or in the ocean. It could be fired at Hawaii, explode right outside Hawaii. But maybe what they've done is they've taken the nuclear ability away from them. They will fire their missile thinking that it's going to work, and it will hit. You'll see an explosion, but it won't be nuclear. And this is why I'm saying, this is why QAnon might be saying it's a major false flag that they're attempting, but it's going to fail. And this is why they're saying know your surroundings, because if there is an incoming missile, sirens will go off. Everyone will get that warning on their phone. People will be scared. Know your surroundings. So we can see how this can play out. Now, what I've done on the X22 report, I've placed QAnon on the sidebar, a Twitter feed, and his latest warnings. And these will be updated as more warnings come out and things like that. And we'll be talking about this on future reports. So we can take the information that we've been gathering, compare it to this insider, and see if it jives together. And so far what I've been seeing, it's pretty darn close. And of course, if this is a true insider, well, these insider, whoever this person or people are, they're going to have a lot more information. So we need to look at this, compare, see what's happening. But the general message coming out of QAnon is that the deep state is worried. The deep state is dying. The deep state is desperate. And we can see that the people are winning and taking back the country. The patriots of this country are winning and taking back their country. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.